Hallelujah.
All right, Mashiach Palau, the Lashon Kodash, the Lord's Prayer in the ancient Hebrew. Repeat the Hebrew. Abba Yanawa.
Abba Yanawa.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Kodash.
Kodash.
Haya.
Haya.
Shamka.
Shemka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Malakwavka.
Malakwavka.
Taba'ah.
Taba'ah.
Ratazaka.
Ratazaka.
Haya.
Haya.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Baharataza.
Baharataza.
Ka.
Ka.
Bashemayim.
Bashemayim.
Utananawa.
Utananawa.
Lacham.
Lacham.
Ko.
Ko.
Yawam.
Lawam.
Wasalachnawa.
Wasalachnawa.
Kabawatinawa.
Kawafinawa.
Kasalachnawa.
Wasalachnawa.
Kabawatinawa.
Kawafinawa.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Dabi'anawa.
Dabi'anawa.
Banasaiwan.
Badasaiwan.
Abo.
Abo.
Hawashinawa.
Hawashinawa.
Man.
Man.
Rai.
Rai.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Laka.
Laka.
Hamalakwa.
Hamalakwa.
Waha'ala.
Walahala.
Wahatai Pa'arath.
Walatai Poraf.
La'ai Walamya.
Aibalamya.
Wahashem.
Bahashim.
Hamashiach.
Mashiach.
Yahushai.
Yahushai.
The water.
The water.
The yad.
The yad.
Aman.
Aman.
The Lord's Prayer in English, Matthew chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. For if thou forgive men, Salaki, for if ye forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if ye forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. Bahashem, Hamashiach Yahushai, the water from Yad, Amen.
Aman. Hallelujah.
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 Okay, give me Psalms 150 also.
Psalms 150, the praise. Praise ye Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
Praise the Most High in his sanctuary.
Hallelujah.
Praise him in the firmament of his power.
Hallelujah.
Praise him for his mighty acts.
Hallelujah.
Praise him according to his excellent greatness.
Hallelujah.
Praise him with the sound of the trumpet.
Hallelujah.
Praise him with the soft string harp.
Hallelujah.
Praise him with the timbrel and dance.
Hallelujah.
Praise him with the string instruments and organs.
Hallelujah.
Praise him upon the loud cymbals.
Hallelujah.
Praise him upon the high sounding cymbals.
Hallelujah.
Let everything that have breath praise Yahweh.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Praise ye Yahweh. Bahashem Mashiach Yahushai, the water from Yad, Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Let everything that have breath praise Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
Let everything that have breath praise Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
All praises be to the power of Amos and Jacob, the power of Israel. We thank thee, Yahweh, for giving us this holy convocation, for giving us the Purim, for giving us the victory in the face of our enemies. We ask of Yahweh to send a righteous spirit to encamp with us this evening as we review the second part or the last part of the story of Mordecai and Esther and how they stood up against our enemies, the Persian and Medes, in the time of Haman, the general. Heavenly Father, continue to give us victory in the face of our enemies. Remember the covenant that thou hast made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that thou would be our power and we to be thy people, and that you remember us and redeem us out of this captivity in which we live in today. Baruch Shai Yahweh, receive the prayer that's written in the Psalms 23. Yahweh is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely righteousness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of Yahweh forever. Let all that have breath praise Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
Yahweh by Hashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai, the Water Yard, Aman.
Amen.
You shall be seated. All right, the wife, everybody that made it out early, somewhat on time. You know, we're gonna have a lot of late stragglers coming in, but you know, blessed be those that made it here early. Most High, open up a way for you to be here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pick it up, you know, right in Mordecai 6. But before we do that, let's get Colossians 3, verse 7. Give it all thanks to the Most High in the name of Mashiach Yahushua.
The book of Colossians, chapter 3, verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of Mashiach Yahushua, giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by him.
Right. Everything we do in word or deed, we give thanks to the Most High in the name of Mashiach Yahushua, because that's the way we go to the Father. That's what the scripture says. Amen. You know, go to the Father, but through me, it is the thief and the robber. You know what I mean? So you can't steal the kingdom. You got to come through Yahushua. Everybody understand that? So let's get Esther, the 6th chapter, first verse. Let's open up with that.
Esther, chapter 6, verse 1. On that night could not the king sleep, and he commanded to bring the book of records of the chronicles, and they were read before the king.
Right, so they what? They would open up the book of the chronicles of the king. What is this? This is like the recording of the things that took place in the province and amongst around the king's palace. This is the chronicles of the king. Anything that took place in his palace, anything that took place amongst his people that was near unto him, they would chronologize these things. You know when they say you put things in chronological order, right? So that's what the chronicles are, is dates and times and events that took place. So he couldn't sleep that night. So he had one of his servants come and start reading up the chronicles. Remind me of the things that took place, right? Read on.
Verse 2. And it was found written that Mordecai,
right,
had told of Bigthan and of Tarshish, two of the king's chamberlains,
right,
the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus.
Right, so 2 of his right-hand men, his guards, they was plotting to kill King Ahasuerus. But Mordecai found out the plot, right? And he exposed them, and then they got what? They got terminated, right? They got killed for them trying to plot against the king, right? When Mordecai exposed them, right? They did an investigation and found it to be true that these men was really plotting to kill the king Ahasuerus. So these men were executed. Right? Read on.
Verse 3. And the king said, what honor and dignity had been done to Mordecai for this?
Yeah, what reward was given to Mordecai for saving my life? But he asked his nobles, his royal men, what did y'all do to Mordecai? What did y'all give him? Read.
Then said the king's servants that minister unto him,
there
is nothing done for him.
He said, we ain't doing nothing for him. Do you mean this man saved the king's life and nothing was done? Imagine you saved the president's life. God, you should at least get a Happy Meal or something, a letter of recognition, a reference letter, something, right? They did nothing for the man. Read on.
And the king said, who is in the court?
Right.
Now Haman was come into the outer court of the king's house.
Remember, what's Haman's position? Who remembers Haman's position? What was his position? in the government of Azores, the king. He was what? He was the top man, top general. He's in charge of all the troops. That's right. He's a man, right?
President.
That's right, man. Haman, man. Haman is the man. All right, you got to. He only answers to the king. That's his level, right? Read on.
To speak unto the king to hang Mordecai on the gallows that he had prepared for him.
Right. So now Haman coming in there to say, yo, listen, I'm about to talk to the king about killing Mordecai. And why did Haman want to kill Mordecai again? That's right, because Mordecai had no respect of persons when it came to that dude, right? Right? He wasn't bowing down to him. He wasn't giving him no respect. Mordecai had nothing for him. Mordecai only he saved all his honor for the Most High Yahweh and for righteousness. He wasn't going to be bowing down to no hand, right? Because he got a little position, right? You ever work with somebody to get a little position, and now they want to act like boss or something, like they somebody above you? Hey, Mordecai wasn't going for that. All right, read on.
Chapter 6, verse 5. And the king's servant said unto him, Behold, Haman standeth in the court. And the king said, Let him come in. So Haman came in. And the king said unto him, What shall be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor?
Right.
Now Haman thought in his heart, To whom would the king delight to do honor more than to myself?
Right. So Haman, that cat was proud. He said, he got to be talking about me. So the king asked him, what should we do to somebody that we want to show honor, that the king wants to show honor to, and let everybody know that this man is an honorable man in the sight of the king? So he's asking Haman for his advice. Haman automatically think, man, he must be talking about me, right? So Haman started thinking about all the stuff that he want done. All right, read on.
Verse 7. And Haman answered the king,
Right.
For the man whom the king delighteth to honor,
Come on.
let the royal apparel be brought which the king used to wear. And the horse.
Read it again.
Verse 8. Let the royal apparel be brought which the king useth
right
to wear.
To wear. That means when the king is rolling around the kingdom, he puts on certain royal apparel to show, his majesty to the people. He said, bring those robes out. Only that royal robes that only come out when the king is going through the provinces. Read on.
And the horse that the king rideth upon.
And that stallion that the king ride on, it's all dressed out. Right? Because they used to deck out these horses, right? With all the gold and all that on the horses, all the armory on the horses. So he would look majestic when he's riding around, right? Probably a Clydesdale or something, some huge horse, right? Ain't no little pony. When these men, when they step out, right? Read on.
And the crown royal, which is set upon his head.
Right, and his royal crown that sits upon his head. Read on.
And let this apparel and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princesses.
Right.
That they may array the man withal whom the king delighteth to honor, and bring him on horseback through the streets of the city.
Right, so what? He says, yeah, get one of your top prince to put the apparel on that man that you want to honor. So he all in his imagination right now. He's just seeing himself rolling down the city on that horse, wearing those robes, had the high prince put these robes on him. In his head, it was all about him, about fame. He was trying to get famous, right? Read on.
And proclaim before him, Thou shalt be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor.
Right, thus shall be done to the king delight to honor. Read on.
Verse 10.
Right.
Then the king said to Haman,
what he said to him?
Make haste.
Make haste, hurry up.
And take the apparel and the horse as thou hast said.
Everything that you just said, read on.
And do even so to Mordecai.
To who?
Mordecai.
Do all this to Mordecai. Now, mind you, when Haman came into court to see the king, what was he going to talk to the king about? Killing Mordecai and hanging him on the 50-cubit high gallows and hang that man for everybody to see. Now the king is telling Haman, do all this, everything that you want done to you, do it to him. All right. Read on. So you can imagine his spirit at this point. His spirit is all broken. Right? He's crushed right now. I can't believe he got to do this. Right? Read on.
So to Mordecai the Jew, that sitteth at the king's gate, let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken.
Make sure you do exactly everything you said. It sounds great. Do that to Mordecai. Right? Read on.
Then took Haman the apparel and the horse, and arrayed Mordecai,
right,
and brought him on horseback through the street of the city,
right,
and proclaimed before him,
come on,
thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor.
Come on.
And Mordecai came again to the king's gate, but Haman haste to his house mourning, and having his head covered. And verse 13, and Haman told Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends everything that had befallen him. Then said his wise men and Zeresh, his wife, unto him, if Mordecai be the seed of the Jews, before whom thou hast begun to fall, thou shalt not prevail against him, but shall surely fall before him.
Right, so what? His people said, listen, man, this is Mordecai. You know, if I read it again, right.
Verse 13. And Haman told Zeresh, right, his wife and all his friends everything that had befallen him.
Right.
Then said his wise men and Zeresh, his wife, right, unto him, if Mordecai be the seed of the Jews, before whom thou hast begun to fall, thou shalt not prevail against him, but shall surely fall before him. Right.
So he said, listen, Mordecai will end up killing you. You was trying to kill all the Jews. You're going to get killed. Right? Read on.
Verse 14. And while they were yet talking with him, came the king's chamberlains, right, and hastened to bring Haman unto the banquet that Esther had prepared.
Right. So remember yesterday we'll read about this, that Esther prepared this banquet to put Haman and the king in the same room to expose Haman. Right? Right?
So he ain't even have time to run because they think he got it immediately.
Right. He don't know what to do yet. Right now, he's just talking to his wives and his wise men and his wife. What am I going to do now? I'm supposed to kill the Jews on the what? On the 13th. Mordecai, one of the top Jews, I got to walk this man through the city, right? Giving all honor to this man. My whole plans is all jacked up. He's trying to get some advice. And before he can even clear his head, it's time now to go to the banquet. Right? Read on.
Chapter 7. So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Esther, the queen.
Right.
And the king said unto Esther, on the second day at this banquet of wine, what is thy petition, Queen Esther? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request?
Right.
And it shall be performed, even to the half of the kingdom.
Yep.
Then Esther the queen answered and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request.
Right. So he said, if it please the king, don't let me get killed. Right? Now the king don't know the heritage of Esther yet. Right? He don't know Esther is a Hebrew. What tribe is Esther from? You're Benjamite, out of the 12 tribes of Israel. But the king don't know her heritage yet. So right now she dropped a bomb on the king and said, listen, if it please you, king, don't allow me to be killed or my people to be killed. Right? So this is the first he hearing of this. Read on.
Verse 4. For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish.
Right. He said they were sold. How much they were sold for? Who remembers? Talents of silver. Right? There's a bounty on the heads of the Israelites. Anybody come back with a head of an Israelite, you're gonna get this silver. 10,000 talents of silver. So you know, people was getting ready. They was sharpening swords. They was getting ready to get paid. All right, everybody was gearing up their artillery to go get these Hebrews out the land. Read on.
But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage.
Right.
Then the king,
Ahasuerus,
answered and said unto Esther, the queen, who is he, and where is he, that durst presume in his heart to do so?
Right. He said, show me the man that's going to kill my Queen Esther, all her people. What man is this? Read on.
And Esther said, the adversary, the enemy, is this wicked Haman.
This wicked Haman. Haman sitting there like, you already know he got the gas place right now. Like, you don't know what's going to happen to him right now. But everybody know how the king feel about Esther. All right? When a man is upon a woman and love a woman, you can't say nothing about it. You can't bring no harm to that woman. Right? It's a problem right now. Right? This king about to go berserk on Haman right now. Right? Read on.
Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen.
Right?
And the king arrived.
Man, his stomach turned when she said that. This man Haman right here. Read on.
And the king, arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath,
right,
went unto the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther the queen.
The king was so mad he had to walk out, man. Before he do something crazy right now, he just stood up and walked away. Because you got, man, this is Haman, who he just set up to be above all his armies and everything, trying to kill his wife and and her family. Right now, he's like, yo, he had to go cool off and think clearly. Right? Read on.
For he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king.
Right.
Then the king returned out of the palace garden unto the place of the banquet of wine.
Right.
And Haman was fallen unto the bed wherein Esther was.
So Esther went and sat on the bed, and Haman fell down upon the bed, I guess, pleading with Esther. Right? Read on.
Then said the king.
What the king said?
Will he force the queen also before me?
Is you trying to rape my wife now? Oh man, the king is he angry as hell right now. He said, you gonna try to force the queen right before me too? This man must be killed. Read on.
As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face.
Read on.
And Horrible, one of the chamberlains,
right,
said before the king,
come on,
behold also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king,
right,
standeth in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang him thereon.
That's right. The same gallows that Haman was planning on hanging Mordecai on, he gonna get hung on that. Okay? He gonna get hung on that. And this is the understanding of this story, is that a lot of times these nations presume to have all this evil they try to do against us. And all that ends up happening, end up right on their own head. Ends up right on their own head. Pharaoh wanted to kill all the firstborn of Israel, all his firstborn got killed. Okay? Okay, so understand, when your ways please the Most High, nothing can't come against you. They try to come against you, only gonna curse themselves. You can't curse who the Most High bless. Everybody understand that? You do the will of the Father, you ain't got to worry about what nobody come at you with. It's just going to return back on their own head. Okay. Read on.
Verse 10. So they hang Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified.
Right. Now the king was like, all right, I'm good with that. All right, now I'm okay now. Is he hanging up there, all the way up there? Good. Right, read on.
Esther chapter 8, verse 1. On that day did the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman, the Jews' enemy, unto Esther the queen.
Right.
And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was upon unto her. And the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it unto Mordecai. And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman.
Right. He said Mordecai over the house of Haman. So the position that Haman had, Mordecai got it now. And everything that was given to Haman was now given to Mordecai. Every possession Haman owned, now Mordecai owns it. All right. He said he gave the whole house of Haman over to Mordecai. All right, read on.
Verse 3. And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet, and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman, the Agagite, and his device that he had devised against the Jews. Then the king held out the golden scepter towards Esther. So Esther arose and stood before the king. And he said, if it please the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, and if the thing seem right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes, let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman, the son of the
Hamathite
and Agagite, Agagite.
There you go.
Which he had wrote to destroy the Jews which are in all the king's provinces. For how can I endure to see the evil that shall come unto my people? Or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred? Then the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther the queen, and to Mordecai the Jew, behold, I give thee Esther the house of Haman, and him they had hung unto the upon the gallows, because he laid his hand upon the Jews. Write ye also for the Jews, as it liketh you, in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring. For the writing which is written in the king's name and sealed with the king's ring, may no man reverse.
Right. So he said, listen, write a letter to Mordecai, write it down that this decree has been reversed, and seal it with my ring, and that way that nobody will stand against this in my provinces. Read on.
Verse 9. Then were the king's scribes called at that time in the 3rd month, that is the month of Sivan, on the 3rd and 20th day,
23rd day, right?
Therefore, thereof, and it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded unto the Jews, and to the lieutenants and the deputies and the rulers of the provinces which are from India unto Ethiopia,
right?
127 provinces.
127 provinces. He was a king over 127 cities. Okay, he had a lot of land under his control. Right, this was no small kingdom here. 127 provinces. Read on.
Unto every province according to the writings thereof, and unto every people after their language, and to the Jews according to their writing and according to their language. And he wrote in the king's Ahasuerus' name,
right, and
sealed it with the king's ring, and sent letters by the post on horseback, and riders on mules, camels, and young
dromedaries,
wherein the king granted the Jews dromedaries. Verse 11. Wherein the king granted the Jews which were in every city to gather themselves together, and to stand for their life, to destroy, to slay, and to cause to perish all the power of the people and provinces that will assault them, both little ones and women, and to take the spoils of them for a prey.
Right. So is there anybody raise up against you and try to still perform this decree? You kill them. That's what the letter said. Anybody try to still come at you after this thing has been reversed, that person is gonna get killed. All right, read on.
Upon one day in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, upon the 13th day of the 12th month.
Of the what month?
12th month.
Read on.
Which is the month Adar.
Right, so that was yesterday. Was the 13th day of the 12th month. Read on.
The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, and that the Jews should be ready against that day to avenge themselves on their enemies.
Right. Anybody rise up against you, avenge yourself. Fight for your life. Kill that, if they kill or be killed on that day. All right, read on.
So the post that rode upon mules and camels went out, being hastened and pressed on by the king's commandment. And the decree was given to Shushan the palace. And Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal apparel of blue and white, and with a great crown of gold, and with a garment of fine linen and purple. And the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad. The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor. Right. And in every province, in every city, wheresoever the king commanded and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them.
Right, so other nations, right, started keeping our customs. When they saw that how the Most High blessed us, they like, man, truly, you got the real God, man. You know what I mean? What y'all do? Now they started to learn our customs, right? So the other nations started to keep our customs. They became Jews, right? But they can't become Israelites, so they become what? They follow our customs, right? Read on.
Esther chapter 9, verse 1. Mm-hmm. Now in the 12th month, that is the month of Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near to be put in execution, and the day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had ruled over them that hated them.
Right.
The Jews gathered themselves together in their cities throughout all the provinces of the king's Hasharoth, to lay hand on such as sought their hurt, and no man could withstand them, for the fear of them fell upon all the people.
Right.
And all the rulers of the provinces, and the lieutenants, and the deputies, and officers of the kings helped the Jews, because the fear of Mordecai fell upon them.
Right. So what? The local authorities was helping the Jews out. Okay, was helping the Hebrews out. The local authorities was backing you. Instead of them trying to harass you, they're actually fighting for you. Right? How many times have we experienced that? Those that go to camp, right? Police roll up, thinking they're gonna take us off the corner, then they end up protecting us at the corner. They most High flip their whole agenda, right? Talking about they gonna, they probably was called out to get this harassment off the corner. Next, they standing strong for us. Nobody don't mess with these men, right? Right? What was that?
Proverbs 16:7.
Please, Most High. Yeah, I was thinking about it. I'll get it down on the link.
Yep.
Get it now. Get it now. Yep.
Proverbs chapter 16, verse 7. When a man ways please the Most High,
right,
he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him.
Right, and this whole story is a example of that scripture being manifest, or that verse being manifest. That Mordecai ways, he was righteous, and the Most High don't forsake the righteous. Everybody understand that? Right, we went over that yesterday. You don't forsake the righteous. You stay with the Most High, he stay with you. Right? So Mordecai staying in righteousness, didn't get hasty, didn't go get guns when he heard that Haman had this plot that went out. He didn't go get cans of soup and try to get an underground bunker somewhere and hold it down. He didn't try to hide the fact that he was a Hebrew Israelite and try to act like he's a Jebusite or a Hittite and try to mess with somebody, try to blend in. He stood strong for the Most High. So this is what we have to get the understanding out of these scriptures. That just the way Mordecai stood up in the face of his destruction, but he stood faithful, we got to stand faithful. Everybody understand that? We got to stand faithful, man. All right? Never hide you a Hebrew. I think you're going to benefit for that. Okay? You're only setting yourself up for failure. All right? You're the Most High's chosen. That's a blessed thing to be. That's an honorable thing to be. When you find out you're a Hebrew Israelite, you should be trying to broadcast. Let everybody know, hey, check it out. I ain't black no more. Right? I ain't Negro no more. I ain't a nigga. I ain't all these things that they told me I was. I'm a Hebrew Israelite. What was that, Kendrick Lamar? They don't call me black no more. Right? Right? So you got to put that forth. You got to put that spirit forth. When you learn you're a Hebrew, don't hide it. Don't let anybody say, oh, don't let them people hear you. You know what I mean? Then they're going to say this or they're going to say that. That's that old slave mentality. That's that scary mentality. You scared of every damn thing. Right? We ain't scared of no Esau no more. All right? Our fear is reserved for the Most High Yah, huh? So we ain't got fear left for nobody else. All right? Fear is spent. They say today spun. You got no more left. All right? Let's read on.
Esther chapter 9, verse 4.
Come on.
For Mordecai was great. For Mordecai was great in the king's house.
Right.
And his fame went out throughout all the provinces for this man. Mordecai waxed greater and greater.
Right.
Thus the Jews smote all their enemies with the stroke of the sword, and slaughtered and destruction, and did what they would unto those that hated them.
Come on.
And in Shushan, the palace, the Jews slew and destroyed 500 men.
Right.
And in Pershaddah, and in Daphon, and in Ashtaroth, and
Let me have look these.
Verse 7 and 8.
Okay.
I can't see you in this little book. All right, verse 7.
Verse 7. All right.
And
Parshan the Tha.
Yeah, Parshan
the Tha.
The Tha.
Right. And Dalphon.
And Dalphon.
Right. And Aspatha.
Aspatha.
Right. And right, verse 8.
Verse 8.
Right. Poratha. Right.
Yep.
Adela. Right. And Aridatha. Right.
And
Parmashta. Right.
And
Arisai. Right. And Aradai.
And Baza Asaf.
What is Vajazatha? Vajazatha.
You got it.
Okay, 10.
And 10.
Right. Verse 10.
Verse 10. The sons of Haman, the sons of Hamadatha,
yep,
the enemy of the Jews, slew them. But on the spoil laid they not their hand.
Right.
On that day, the number of those that were slain in Shushan, the palace was brought before the king. And the king said unto Esther the queen, the Jews have slain and destroyed 500 men in Shushan, the palace, and in the 10 sons of Haman.
Mm-hmm. And the 10 sons of Haman. So they killed 500 people and the 10 sons of Haman. They killed his whole household. That's it. They erased his whole lineage. All right. It wasn't holding back any judgment on this day. Okay. So very important we understand that when the Most High gives the order, to put our enemies to flight, we got to put them to flight. You understand that?
Wow.
A lot of people teach you in the church that the Most High don't kill. But the Most High, he's all love. Do you see love for Haman and his family here in these scriptures? Is that a loving act to put all his 10 sons to death? Right? That's an act of what? Of war. Righteous vengeance. Okay? So that's the power that we serve. That's the real God of the scriptures. Okay? You see things go down in this earth and people Oh, they try to, the Christian mentality doesn't even fit what you see with your own eyes. You see it with your own eyes. You got news. You look and see what's going on. People getting laid down, getting killed. A lot of things happening in the earth. You think the Most High is sleeping? Right? When these things go down, what do you think the Most High was? Right there in the midst of it. All right? His angels is right there in the midst of it. He sanctions all those deaths that go down. The more you understand that, then the more you understand how important it is for us to serve the Most High. Okay? So you don't become a statistic. All right? Read on.
Yeah, 12.
Yeah, verse 12.
It's the 9 and 12. And the king and queen, the Jews have slain and destroyed 500 men in Shushan, the palace. And the 10 sons of Haman, what have they done in the rest of the king's provinces? Now, what is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. Or what is thy request further? And it shall be done. Right. So all this has happened. He said, listen, I'll even do more, Esther. What you want to happen? Right? Read on. Then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan to do tomorrow, also according unto this day's decree. And let Haman's 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows. Right. Put this 10 sons up there too. Right, along with Haman. Let them all be hung. So everybody can see what happens when you come against the Hebrew Israelites. Come on? That's what they'll make it a statement. All right, a statement is being made. Okay. We understand that. We know that this is only fault. That these things would have taken place. Okay. We fall again. All of that's not what this is about. Neither did children. What did our forefathers do? They fasted and they prayed unto the Most High. Right? Rest. Okay. And you got to enemies fall. Go. Okay. All right. Right. Read on. And the king commanded it so to be done, and the decree was given, and they hanged for the Jews that were us together on the 14th day also of the month of Adar, and slew 300 men at Shushan. But on the prey hand, and stuff, these would put these men to death for plotting to kill the Hebrew Israelites. Read on. That were in the king's provinces gathered themselves together and stood for their lives, and had rest from their enemies, and slew of their foes 70 and 5,000. But they laid not their hands on the prey. On the 13th day of the month of Adar, and on the 14th day of the same rest of the day of feasting and gladness. So that's why we gather today. This is the 14th day. Yesterday was feasting and gladness, Con. We're going to continue in that feasting and gladness tonight, Con. Read on. But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and the 14th thereof. And on the 15th day of the same, they rested and made it a day of feasting and gladness. Therefore the Jews of the villages that dwelt in the unwalled towns made the 14th day of the month of Adar a day of gladness and feasting, and a good day, and of sending portions. And of sending what? Sending portions. Read on. One to another. So what's that? Portions being sent one to another. What's that? That's gifts. Okay. So it's in our holiday that we gave gifts to each other on the day of Purim. Those were the portions that was given one to another. All right. Read on. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the king Azarias, both nigh and far, to establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar, and the 15th day of the same yearly,
right,
as the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies,
right,
and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another and gifts to the poor.
right. Come on.
And the Jews undertook today, and the Jews undertook to do as they had begun, and as Mordecai had written unto them.
Right. So they started that custom from that day forth, and we are upholding that tonight. All right. The 13th day at even is the beginning of the 14th day. And the 14th beginning of the 15th day. So we're keeping the 14th and 15th day, which is the 13th at night, the 14th at night, right? With feasting and gladness and giving of portions. Okay? All according to the Lord's statute commandments of the Heavenly Father. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So it's truly a blessing to get our heritage back. How these things? But truly, Halloween, this is a real holy day. This is a day that we ought to celebrate and ought to elevate, ought to glorify. Is it our hand? This is a national holiday. Okay? All right, you can't wait for the White House to recognize our perimeter. It ain't gonna happen. That's the devil that the Bible speaks of that sit in the White House. Hebrews, you are the children of the Most High. You're the righteous. It's on us to establish these days and to glorify them and make them out to what they're supposed to be. Okay, we are to enjoy. He said gladness, feasting, giving of portions. That's what we have. Man. We got the victory through righteousness. And we're going to get more victories through righteousness. Come on. Read on. 22.
Days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies. A good day, the days of feasting and joy,
right,
and of sending portions one to another and gifts to the poor.
Come on.
The Jews undertook to do as they, and as we unto command the son of aggregate of all the Jews had devised against the Jews and cast pur.
Right. So the cast pur means to like gamble, like flip a coin, or that's what the cast pur means. To cast lots. All right, to roll dice. That's casting lots. When you cast lots, mean that you do something that you don't have the control of the outcome. And whatever the outcome is, that's the way you go. That's casting lots. So that's something they flip a coin. But nobody has control on what side of that coin falls on. Right? That's casting lots.
Two-sided.
Unless it's two-sided. Right. Right? This way you can't lose. Right? Or rolling dice. You don't have control of how the numbers are going to fall. That's what casting lots are. So when you read the scriptures, when it talks about casting lots, that's what it's talking about. Anytime you do anything that you don't have control over the outcome. All right? And the Most High have the control over the outcome. Everybody understand that? Read.
25. But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by letters that his wicked device, which he had devised against the Jews, should return upon his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows. Wherefore they called these days Purim, after the name of Pur. Therefore all the words of this letter and of that which they had seen concerning this matter,
right,
and which had come unto them, the Jews ordained and took upon them, and upon their seed, and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they would keep these 2 days according to their writing, and according to their appointed time every year.
All right. Every year. So we got to do this every year. Okay? So how much of you, this is your first Purim? Raise your hand. Let me see. How much of your first Purim? First Purim. Everybody, raise your hand. Let me see.
See the newbies.
All right, let's see the newbies. Your first Purim. All right, hallelujah. For every year from now on, you're going to keep the Purim. Okay? Every year, you're going to give portions one to another. Okay? Every year, it's going to be feast of gladness. Okay? That's what it is. We establish a righteousness on the earth, man.
Give the Most
Let's give Most High a hand. Hallelujah.
So a lot of new hands, a lot of new hands going up. It's a beautiful thing. A lot of our people out there. I just returned back to doing the prison ministry this week. Went up in there and as I was waiting for the brother to come out, I sit there and I listen to all the stories of brothers. There was a brother that was there. He was locked up. I think he's getting out for parole. He was locked up like 20 years. And now he's sitting in past experience. How did he get to this point of being locked up 20, 25 years? And he was telling the lawyer that it was a time where it was like 4 or 5 correction officers that cornered him in a room. So he had to protect himself. But when you're in prison, you catch a charge, they give you more time. So he's explaining himself because you can easily end up going to jail for a traffic stop and end up catching a murder charge. Next thing you know, you're in there for life. Okay? So we can't take for granted having this liberty serving the Most High. That's right. You see? I go there as a business brother that actually the Most High put them in a certain situation that they forced to seek Him. You understand? You don't want to get caught up in a situation where the Most High is dealing with you, that you forced to come see Him. You understand? Seek the Most High willfully. Because He said what? I chastise those who I love. Okay, so either you like getting beatings, okay, or you love misery. Because if the Most High wants you, He's going to do anything to get you.
Right.
Okay, and I was telling the brother that, it's better that you not even hear this knowledge than to hear this word and ignore it. Because if you hear this word and you ignore it, then you got problems. Okay, so, because out of the billions of Israelite men and women, the Most High chose us. So let's not take this for granted, being called into His glorious life. Okay, because there's a lot of people still out there in darkness. You go, this is after prison, majority Blacks and Hispanics. Okay, but we're coming out of that. That movie, the Black Panther. There's a conscious movement in the air. I mean, we're still not there, but there's a transition of it. And a brother actually put out the history that place about Makanda, whatever. Okay, that place was near Fort Niger, whatever, where we actually were in captivity in Africa. So Esau knows this stuff. Okay, they give you a little truth, they put you a little lie, and they make you a movie. But the reality is what? That our people, there's a spiritual revolution that's going on right now. Our people waking up. Okay, these white people they're afraid. Because now, what's happening now? The so-called black people, Hispanics, are starting to get what? A self-pride for themselves. Okay, we're getting that self-pride. It's no longer that, we feel like we're cursed because we have a darker complexion. Okay, they want to be like us. Don't you know the tanning salon? Okay, that's $1 billion industry. Botox. Okay, they want to look like us, but some of our simple people want to look like them, bleaching their skin, getting contact lenses. You understand? But this is our time now. This is our time. Let me just give one verse in Hosea. Hosea 1 and 10. Hosea 1 and 10.
The book of Hosea, chapter 1, verse 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea.
Right, so the Most High is comparing Israel to what? To the sand of the sea. All of us have been to the beach, right? We can't number the sand that's there. That's what the Most High is comparing Israel to. Come on.
Which cannot be measured nor numbered.
Right, so he said it can't be measured nor numbered. Come on.
And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people.
That's mainly talking about where? Mainly talking about America. Come on.
There it shall be said unto them that ye are the sons of the living power.
That we are the sons of the living power. Also over there in Israel. Okay, the so-called white man that calls himself a Jew, he's been perpetrating for years with this identity theft, stealing our identity, taking our land. Okay, preventing us from going there. Anytime you go there, they don't want to give you a visa. Okay, the first time I went to Israel, they had me there. They detained me for like 8 hours. I mean, each time I go, it gets lower and lower. Who wants to be detained? You know, you want to get out there, go to customs, go and join something. No, you gotta be. You know, they have you tight. I mean, you can actually purchase a ticket, go all the way to Israel, get through customs, and they can say, listen, you can't come in the country. I'm in the room, I'm seeing there's an Ishmaelite, a so-called Arab woman, young, she's like 20-something years old. They just came back and said, you know, you're considered a threat. Okay, a threat to security. And they sent her back. No real explanation. And they gave a piece of paper. Okay, she didn't want to sign it, but it's like they give you a piece of paper, right? They're telling you sign it, but you really don't have a choice. You gotta sign it. Okay? But the reality is that what? You can't even dispute that. They telling you, they deem you as a security threat, you can't come in the country. They stole our land, okay, and preventing us to come back. But what did we just read? That every device that these nations have proposed against us, what did the Most High do? So by them preventing us to come back to our own land, what's the Most High going to do? He's going to take them out and put us back in our own land. Right. The more they try to keep us from going back home, the Most High is going to wipe all of them up out of there. Okay, so they can keep on trying to prevent us from coming back. Okay, but the Most High is going to smite all of them out of their land and bring us back home. Halalawyah.
Halalawyah.
But we got to get ready. We got to embrace that. We got to shake off this American vibration. Okay, the scriptures say what? That this place is what? Is not our rest. Okay, we just passing through. We doing our captivity. Well, in our mind, we got to say what? We want to go back home. We want to go back home. We never going to be able to serve the Creator the way we want living here in America. Okay, this place is completely defiled. Okay, completely defiled. This whole transgender, okay, they put up something on the, I don't know if you brothers saw it on WhatsApp. They had this a 10-year-old transgender on the catwalk doing all kind of freakiness. 10 years old. 10 years old boy, he's looking like a girl. So this is what they pushing out.
So they pushing, man. And
the mother and the father, they show the mother in the dressing room, putting the makeup on, and the father's like, oh, this is my son. Okay. Supporting this guy. At 10 years old, be a top transgender. Okay. So this is what America is pushing out these last days. All right, so seek Zion. You know what I'm saying? It's not expensive. Okay. Put the shekels, take that trip. The scriptures say 3 times a year, at least one of the holy days, try to make it. You know what I'm saying? We can't make it for Passover, make it for Feast of Tabs. Okay, try to make that pilgrimage. The so-called Muslim, what do? They all make that pilgrimage for Mecca, right? So for Israel, try to make that pilgrimage. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful trip. You know, open your horizon about what's out there, what the Most High have in store for us. You know, since the place has been like, you see certain places that was barren. There was actually places that there was no water. Water started sprouting up. Places where it was dry, things started, like vegetation started growing since, a lot of brothers and sisters started going back to Zion. Okay, this is our time, man. Esau knows that. Okay, that movie Wakanda, who saw the Black Panther already? You didn't see that movie, go and see it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of subliminal messages that they put out there. Okay, but this is our time. I mean, you see people coming out, so-called Negroes that come out with their African garb. They, just for one day they all, garbed up, but the next day they went back to their skinny foot. But one day they went hard for one day. Okay, but go see that. But what about this? Those of you that did not see it, let's plan a group trip for everybody to go see it at once as a group. Let's set a date for those of you that didn't see it and go as a unit. Okay. One year we rented the whole place out, right, Minister? Had the whole place rent out. Okay.
Birth of a Nation.
We went to go see Birth of a Nation as a unit. It was a beautiful experience. Okay, so let's make a date for those of you that didn't see it, so we can all go as a unit. Halalawyah.
Hallelujah.
All right.
Let's finish chapter 10.
Come on.
10:1.
Esther chapter 10, verse 1. And the king Hazariah laid a tribute upon the land and upon the isles of the sea, and all the acts of his power and of his might, and a declaration of the greatness of Mordecai, went unto the king advancing. Are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Media and Persia? For Mordecai the Jew was next unto the king Azariah, and great among the Jews, and accepted of the multitude of his brethren, seeking the wealth of his people, and speaking peace to all his seed.
Right. So what? If you're in position in this kingdom, that doesn't mean you can't do it for your people. Everybody understand that? Because Mordecai, he in high position. That's not our kingdom. That's the king of the Persian and Medes. But what? He still did for his own. He still did for his people. He still protected his people. He still set forth decrees that his people are well. A lot of our people, they reach position, they close the door behind them. That's what they do. They materialize from nowhere. They forget they are part of a nation. Never forget you're a part of a nation, huh? Wherever the Most High take you and put you in position, always look forward to doing for Israel, huh? All right, so these are the concepts and understandings that we get out of the story of Mordecai, Purim, and Mordecai and Esther, our patriarchs in the story. So let us be full of mirth and gladness, and let us enjoy the rest of this evening. We're going to set up the prayer, bless the food, bless the convocation. Anything else that's going to happen? And then we're going to anoint everyone, and then we're going to dwell in brother and sister. Okay? Hallelujah. 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 Who's the power? Who's the power? By Hashem? By Hashem? Kuras, kuras, kuras. Kuras, kuras, kuras. Holy, holy, holy.
Holy, holy, holy.
Is the name.
Is the name.
Abanawa.
Abanawa.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Holy, holy, holy.
Holy, holy, holy.
is the name
is the name
of Mashiach.
Mashiach.
Yahushai.
Yahushai.
Kwam Abanawi Yahweh.
Come Abinawi Yahweh.
Kwam Abanawi Yahweh.
Come Abinawi Yahweh.
Kwam Mashiach Yahushai.
Come Mashiach Yahushai.
Kwam Mashiach Yahushai.
Come Mashiach Yahushai.
Kwam Yisrael.
Come Yisrael.
Kwam Yisrael.
Come Yisrael.
Barakathu Yahweh.
Baruch Ate Yahweh.
Bahashem.
Ba'Hashem.
Hamashiach.
Hamashiach.
Yahushai.
Yahushai.
Hawa'ah.
Hawa'ah.
Dalanawa.
Dalanawa.
Hakaparim.
Hakaparim.
Bashalom.
Bashalom.
Baruchashah.
Baruchashah.
Shemai.
Shemai.
Zapalayim.
Zapalayim.
Barak.
Barak.
Barapah.
Barapah.
Wakazak.
Wakazak.
Wamagan.
Wamagan.
Basma'ayim.
Bashma'ayim.
Akim.
Akim.
Wa.
Wa.
Akwakim.
Akwakim.
Baruchashah.
Baruchashah.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Bahashem.
Ba'Hashem.
Hamashiach.
Hamashiach.
Yahushai.
Yahushai.
Yachak.
Yachak.
Shaitan.
Shaitan.
Yachak.
Yachak.
Shaitan.
Shaitan.
Yachak.
Yachak.
Kol.
Kol.
Rai.
Rai.
Rahayim.
Rahayim.
Yachak.
Yachak.
Kol.
Kol.
Rai.
Rai.
Rahayim.
Rahayim.
Baruchashah.
Baruchashah.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Bahashem.
Ba'Hashem.
Hamashiach.
Hamashiach.
Yahushai.
Yahushai.
Barak.
Barak.
Ma'akol.
Barakol.
Noah.
Noah.
Washatar.
Bashadar.
Noah.
Noah.
Wayayan.
Ayayan.
Noah.
Noah.
Baruchashah.
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 All praises be to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the power of Israel. We thank you, for giving us this feast of Purim in peace. We ask you, Heavenly Father, to bless, heal, protect, and make strong the brothers and sisters of the children of Israel. We also ask the Most High to rid Israel of all evil spirits. Give Shaitan no pass amongst our people. Bless the food, the hands that have labored over it, the mouths shall receive it. And let that food be blessed unto all those that eat of it. And let their hands be blessed that took time and prepared it. For the Most High loveth a cheerful giver. All this we ask in the name of Mashiach Yahushua, who reign and rule forever. Let all that have breath praise Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
Let all that have breath praise Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
Bahashem Mashiach Yahushua, one of the biyad, aman.
Amen.
Hallelujah. Lift our hands.
All right, men, line up. When I anoint you, say your name. Ya Baraka,
Ya Baraka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Waya Shamaka,
Waya Shamaka,
Yahweh,
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 Yahweh, Panyawayaka,
Waya Kanka,
Waya Kanka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh, Yashar Yahweh, Panyawayaka, Waya Sham,
Laka Shalom,
Laka Shalom, Yahweh Bahashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh, Barak Rapah, Lapalau, Yahweh Bahashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapah, Malachi, Yahweh Bahashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapah, Barash, Yahweh Bahashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapah, Shamawala, Yahweh Bahashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapah, Allah, Yahweh Bahashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapah, Awan, Yahweh Bahashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapah, Ariyah, Yahweh Hashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh Shai,
Barak Rapha,
Barak Rapha,
Zion,
Zion,
Yahweh
Hashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh Shai,
Barak Rapha,
Barak Rapha, Yonah, Yahweh Hashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh Shai,
Barak Rapha,
Barak Rapha, Kadash, Yahweh Hashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Ashar, Yahweh Hashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Avery, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Ariyah, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Cameron, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Shalom, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Terrence, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Noah, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Clarence, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Michael Allah, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Masha, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Sexual, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Halalawyah, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Yatazaka, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Deacon, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Fred. Yeah, you said about that. Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Isaiah, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Amala, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Lawyer,
Halalawyah. Yahweh Hashem. Yahweh Shai. Barak Wapam. Ready. Yahweh Hashem. Yahweh Shai.
Oh, come back. Why you didn't correct me? You know I'm getting old. Yahweh Hashem.
Yahweh Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai. Barak Wapam. Brianna.
Double portion. Yahweh Hashem.
Yahweh Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai.
Barak
Barak Wapam. Halalawyah. Yahweh Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai. Barak Wapam. Layla. Yahweh Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai. Barak Wapam. Shaddaiah.
Shaddaiah.
Yahweh Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai. Barak Wapam. Lexi. Yahweh Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai. Barak Wapam. Lavender. Yahweh Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai. Barak Wapam.
Wendy. Yahweh Hashem.
Yahweh Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai. Barak Wapam. Naomi. Yahweh Hashem. Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai. Barak Wapam. Zachariah. Yahweh Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai. Barak Wapam. Shakira. Yahweh Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai. Barak Wapam. Alyssa. Yahweh Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai. Barak Wapam. Shalom. Yahweh Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai. Barak Wapam. Gahan. Yahweh Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai. Barak Wapam.
All right, you shall be seated. We'll call up when they're ready invite for the service.
Everybody exchange gifts.
They've been exchanging gifts for the last days.
Excellent.